While most Floridians look forward to the cooler temperatures and the ripening of citrus, January and February are great months for the small game hunter. This is prime time to harvest hogs, ducks, snipe, squirrels, and maybe even a bobcat or otter. Typically, I spend these months chasing squirrels, but this year I have been seeing fewer than ever. And with my usual spots only producing a half a dozen on opening weekend, I knew it was time to explore some new areas and hopefully find some better woods.
There's one. Look where I'm looking. He's on the oak branch that overhangs the road. Higher up. See this tree that goes squiggly and across? The one just below that goes across. He's sitting on it.
Oh yeah, I see him.
See him? Yeah. Nice. That was a far one. It is a nice cold morning this morning. It's Christmas Eve. It is a very cold morning. It's 20-something degrees. And it's Christmas Eve. We're checking out a new wildlife management area. See if it's got any squirrels on it. We're just gonna bounce around a little bit this morning. Try to find some hardwoods. And I think maybe we'll walk in right here.
And although the squirrel woods appeared to be mediocre at best, we did stumble onto a dove field that was being heavily used. Knowing full well they would be back, I returned a few days later and got set up well before light. And it didn't take long for the doves to start piling in.
That shattered the silence.
Once the action slowed down, I spent some time scouting the field a little further and happened upon a nice surprise.
There's dove tracks right here. There's a bunch of dove tracks in that. So definitely using this and raccoon.
Even when loaded down with a shotgun and camera gear, I know I'm faster than a raccoon, so I tore after them, hoping to get them to tree.
A couple raccoons. Saw them across this cut field. When running after them, got them to tree. There's two raccoons. There's one in this small tree right here and one in this big pine. There's Big Mama. Oh, 2 for 1. There were 2 in there. Got Big Mama and a couple of smaller ones. I didn't realize there were 2 in the smaller tree. Saw this face stick up. Saw that white face stick up just like that across the field over here, and so I ran at him and got him to tree. They tree pretty easily, so I just blitzed them and they scooted up a tree. we'll cook these up, see how they taste. I have no idea how raccoon tastes. I imagine these are about the right size to try them and see. Okay, so I got the raccoon all cleaned up and pretty surprised by the meat. The meat looks a lot tastier than I thought it would. So I have an idea of how I want to cook this, but I figured we'd take a look in the Meat Eater cookbook. There's typically some advice in here on some of these weird species that aren't normally eaten. So in here, raccoon is a tad greasy, though not necessarily in a bad way. People often soak them in vinegar-based marinades before cooking them. So with that in mind, what we're going to do is we're going to bake this in the oven in a cast iron pan with some onions and some potatoes. But before we do that, I'm going to toss it in some apple cider vinegar here. I use this quite often with pork, and I really like it. I think it kind of helps crisp things up a little bit. So we're going to toss the meat in that. Then we're going to put it in the cast iron pan with some onions and some halved potatoes, and just a little bit of salt, pepper, Italian seasoning, and then just bake it at 325 for a couple hours. Should get that meat nice and tender and give us a good idea of what the flavor is like. Okay, so I got these pieces nice and coated here in the apple cider vinegar. Next, I'm going to add them to the cast iron pan, add seasonings to them. I've got just some pink sea salt, some black pepper, and then I've also got some Italian seasoning as well. Just going to add some onions now. That's plenty. And I've also got some of these halved potatoes. These are just some small red potatoes I halved. And just going to add some olive oil onto this, drizzle olive oil over top. Okay, so I got this covered. We're going to throw this in the oven for about 3 hours or so. Just make sure it's got enough time to get nice and tender. Okay, it's been a couple hours. I pulled this out about halfway through and flipped them. They should be about done now. Doesn't smell bad. Smells good. They look nice and tender. It's just coming off the bone now. Alright, not bad at all. It's like just like a roast or something. Yeah, it's just like a roast. It's not, I mean, no super distinct flavor. Just, I mean, tastes like what you would think this would taste like if you did this with, you know, a pork shoulder, or, you know, beef shoulder or something. Just comes right off the bone.
And while I doubt Meg will let me replace our Thanksgiving turkey with a roasted raccoon, in the realm of Florida meats, I would say it is not quite as good as hog, but definitely better than gator.